Yeah.
Click track. You use a click track.
Yeah, so do I use a click track? So some of you may not know what a click track is. Basically, a click track is something you do, you put in your ears like in a headphone that just keeps time. It's a tempo, right? So it's like tick, 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 tick. And you can set the tempo. So I didn't ever use a click track in the first like 8 years of recording or playing live. I never did. But now, so we went to go record the sort of the breakthrough OBS album with with scarecrows and stuff on it, and they're like, you need to play the click track, like we have to, otherwise you'll never, we can't go in and like, we'll never get on radio unless you play the click track kind of thing. So basically the producer's like, if you don't play the click track, we're not gonna do this record. So I said, oh geez. So I just went and learned kind of quickly. Thankfully it was pretty easy to learn. Like, so basically, I mean, I think some drummers they're so good they don't need click track, but that's pretty rare, like, so basically once you get to a certain point, you don't even notice the click track happening here. Just you play along and it's not even there just to keep you on time, right? And also to keep your bandmates on time, right? Because now my bandmates all have click track in their ear, but for the longest time only I did, and like the other guys would be way off tempo and like whatever. Not that I'm pointing fingers, but you can see like they're way off. It's like, come on, because your emotions get involved and you kind of lose track of tempo, right? So yeah, I think like I recommend it. It's really helpful. I think like basically, like I said, there's the exceptions that never need click track. That's rare, and a good drummer, a click track will just make them great. I think, because all of a sudden you're always on time, right? And then you just play around it. It's kind of like it's there as a guide, and you just kind of do your thing, So yeah, so when we're playing live, I've got a little iPod here, and I've saved all the click tracks as MP3s, and so it's in my in-ear monitors, which is great. We have those. So basically, just like I make a set list of all the different click tracks in the order that the set list is, and then we just for each song, I just hit play, and then I count the guys in, and we're good to go. So. Yeah, it makes everyone tighter, I think, in the band. Not just the drummer, like it makes everyone tighter, Yes?
I hang with some guys, they have a band. I noticed that they rely very heavily on the drummer to keep them going through their songs. Is that the normal? That's always like that?
Yeah, I mean, so there's no, they don't have click track in their ears.
No, they're all newer band, and they do some of their own stuff. I noticed that they got pretty pissed off when the drummers lost it in the middle of the song, and they kind of stumble for a couple of minutes, couple of seconds to get back. I noticed that they rely very heavy on them.
Well, every musician relies on the drummer, for sure. The drummer's
That was normal with every band. That's kind of, I'm brand new to drums. I'm just kind of hanging with them, and it kind of inspired me. But I noticed that one guy got let go, so because he stopped losing his beat there a couple.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I joke, but like really, it's if the drummer is bad, then the whole band, you can't, you're only as good as your drummer, I think, in a lot of ways, because if the tempo's up and down, the drummer's losing a beat, how's the rest of the band gonna, it's the foundation, right? So again, it's making a faulty house on top, right? So, but yeah, I think, everyone should rely on the drummer in terms of tempo and groove and beat and stuff, right? And then from there, everyone kind of lays their bit on top, How we doing? Yeah.
For especially a lot of younger kids here, they're just starting to play. When do you make the move from playing drums by myself, listening to music, to playing with other people?
That's a great question.
Whole
Yeah.
band or not, just somebody else, and how is that different?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when do you make the move from playing solo to with a band? And that's, I think for everyone, it's gonna change, differ. I would say, for me, I sort of started right away in a band, so it was sort of trial by fire. I wasn't very good, and neither were my bandmates, thankfully. So we sort of all learned together, which is cool. But again, I started late. I started grade 12 and started a band right then. So, I would say, I'd say sooner the better in terms of playing with other musicians, because I think you always, the great thing about playing with other musicians is you learn so much, right? Just like you have a good conversation with someone else, you learn something, right? And same with being in a band, other musicians should inspire you, and ideally, your bandmates are better musicians than you are, so they elevate you, Although if you're the best in the band, then that's not a bad thing either. It's good for your ego. But it's try to find musicians that are always better than you, so then they bring you up. But yeah, I'd say sooner the better. But you don't have to feel like a sense of rush to get them in a band that's going to stay together forever right away. But even if it's just like a guitar player and a drummer just playing, I think that's really how you learn how to write songs and stuff. How are we doing for time? Oh, hey, you.
When you were in grade 12,
Yeah.
did you know how to play guitar too?
Good question. So when I was in grade 12, did I know how to play guitar as well as drums? I did, but I wasn't very good.
I know how to play guitar. My mom taught me.
Nice. Okay. Well, you are about 15 years ahead of where I was then. Yeah, I wasn't very good. Like I knew how to play like 4 chords.
How old were you when you were in grade 12?
How old was I when I was in grade 12? I was 16. Then I turned 17, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so I could play guitar, and I think that's what got me to drums was I wasn't very good at guitar. So, and I went to drums, and I wasn't very good at drums. But at least I knew there was room for growth there.
I know how to play drums too.
Awesome. You're awesome.
And the ukulele.
What? Okay, now you're just embarrassing me. Okay, I saw another hand up there over there somewhere. Yes?
Do you know how to do like stick tricks while you play too, or?
Not that good. Like, I mean, I do some, like I kind of do that, but I don't really, like, that's kind of just, if I'm, like, I don't even do it that well, right? It's just kind of like I do it once in a while, it just kind of looks cool, but I can't do like the full on, which some people just learn that really early, and I just never could. Maybe I got sausage fingers or something, I don't know, but it's just, I'm not that great at doing like the full on, and I don't do like the whole throwing out, like throwing the sticks in the air and stuff. Like, I do a lot of arms in the air and like standing up and whatever, but yeah, not a ton of stick tricks. But are you good at that?
I'll play drums. Sorry.
Oh, nice. Okay.
My friends are better than I am, so.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I've never been that great at that stuff. I'll probably drop a stick if I do it too much, but it's just it wasn't something that I've ever been able to learn that easily. So yeah, a little bit, but.
That's kind of the thing right now in high school. It's like you can do the stick tricks while you play. It doesn't matter how bad you play. It just looks good.
Yeah, it's all style, no substance.
Yep.
Yeah. It doesn't last. That won't last long after high school. The style over substance thing. You got to get some substance at some point, right? Okay. Yes. Are you gonna make me? Are you gonna embarrass me again?
Did you go to college?
I did. I went to college for about a decade.
Oh.
10 years. I know, I was crazy.
Did you go to pre-K?
Pardon me?
Did you go to pre-K?
To where, sir?
Pre-K, she's saying.
Oh, pre-K. No. I just went to kindergarten and then to grade 12. Yeah, and
Did
then.
you go to grade 1?
Yeah.
Grade 2?
Yeah.
Grade 3?
Yeah, all the way through. Yeah.
I'm in grade 2.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's a fun year.
In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be in grade 3.
Nice. Okay. Well, that's an exciting time. Yeah.
Just touching on the business aspect of
Yeah.
things, when you're signing a contract for your band, is there anything to look out for, or do's or don'ts, or things that might make or break a contract?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the contract for sure. Like, if there's, if you're looking at a management contract or a record deal or a publishing deal, like, there's different sort of red flags. I do a lot of writing on these topics, like everything sort of music biz related, and I post articles on my website, so you might actually find them quite useful. So the website is lawyerdrummer.com, and there's like one tab, it's like resources, and that's just all the articles I've written. So, for example, what to look out for in a management deal, that's an article I've written, and it's like a couple pages, what to look out for in a record deal, same thing, it's on there. So, I mean, generally speaking, it's just like ultimately you want to you know, you want a contract that's fair, but what is fair, right? It depends on the industry and what they're offering, right? So I think one rule that I would say is like, what's your instinct with whoever's offering you the contract? And that's as important as what's in the contract. You know, if your instinct is this person, this company seems kind of sketchy, well, they probably are. You know, so, and usually I always rely on my instinct, and usually it's right. You know what I mean? So sometimes you get these contracts, or bands get these contracts where it's like, we're gonna make you the next big thing, and you have to like basically sign away your soul, and it's like they're based in somewhere in the U.S. or whatever. Chances are, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. You know. But again, if you get these questions or if you get a contract, just email me. Like, I'm happy to help. That's what I do. You know. No, she can ask us. I went to grade 5. Yes, I did
How old
grade.
are
How old am I now?
you? Yeah.
You're really trying to embarrass me now. I'm 37.
Did you play Minecraft when you were a kid?
Pardon me?
Did you play Minecraft when you were a kid?
It didn't exist when I was a kid. It's a pretty lame childhood, eh? I played Nintendo a bit. And then I just played outside a lot, which
Oh. Are you Canadian or American?
I'm Canadian.
Oh,
How about you?
I'm Canadian.
Okay, sweet. Yes.
You briefly mentioned bad habits. We've got a son who's really motivated, but only 6, right? And so I don't want to squash it with formal lessons or anything yet, because he's happy with the kit in the basement. But
Yeah.
at what point, if you could do over, if you had kids, like at what point would you start looking at, you know,
Lessons.
something a little more structured? Yeah.
I mean, part of me is like, again, I'm not like a huge rule follower, so like I would say let them just keep playing and like,
Yeah.
but at some point, because yeah, I think that, and some of these musician buddies of mine that started super young and were like these amazing players in high school because their parents got them into lessons at like age 6 or whatever, they got sick of it. You know, they got sick of always, it was so sort of not fun for a long time. So I started in grade 12 and I'm just like, this is the funnest thing ever. I'm way behind everyone else, but then I'm doing it now, right? So that's what I mean. I guess I was a late bloomer. So I guess it's a balance. You'll probably know it in your gut when the right time is, like, and sort of the right kind of teacher too. Like, it's not going to be. You may not want to just do it really, really regimented right out of the gates, but maybe something kind of more fun and interactive, you know. But yeah, I guess like I don't want to just pick a number, but it's like when you think he's more like kind of ready to focus a bit more, that'd be the time. Maybe it's a couple years or whatever. But and the bad habits I had, I mean. It's like, again, it's part of my sound, like whatever the things I do, people are like, I've never thought of doing that before, and then I'll be like, well, I just made it up because I didn't know that was breaking a rule or something, you know what I mean? So it's like, in a way, and then I'll see people do stuff that seems, to me, is like so weird, but they're like, that's like one of the first things you learn when you take drum lessons, you know, and I'm like, what? So it's just, there is no rhyme or reason, like whatever inspires your son, right? Like,
Thanks.
no problem.
Just a quick question, especially for the young people in the room, is have you ever used your drumming in your music other than the band? Like in movies or video games or anything? Just there's other options than just bands kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is tons of options besides just being in a band. Like for me, I've always sort of just been in bands, you know, and then the occasional occasional like jam with other people, that kind of thing, or occasional giving lessons for a while I did. But yeah, mostly it's like my experience is all sort of band based.
So there's other options of
Yeah, well, there's so we toured our last tour with this band from the West, from Edmonton called Whale and the Wolf, and the drummer is this young guy that like plays in the jazz band at the university in Edmonton. Like, and he can do stuff that I could never do. Like he's great, like just this jazz guy, you know. And so he does like he'll do stuff like recording scores and stuff like that, which is to me, it's like, that's like a real drummer, you know, I'm just a rock and roll drummer, you know. But he's, yeah, so there's lots of cool things you can do for sure. So I don't have it.
You don't need to ask.
I went to grade 7 as well.
I would pick one bad song and wheel away with it.
What's that?
Pick a one bad song and wheel away with it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there any like requests I could put on like?
Hurricane.
Oh, the new one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do Hurricane. So Hurricane was kind of a cool song. Basically, kind of just came out of nowhere. We were in the studio. It was like kind of like Satellite Hotel. We didn't really have the song completed. We just knew Hicks had a cool riff, and I was like, I love this riff. It almost reminds me of like "Rockin' the Free World" by Neil Young. And so at first I was like, so this is a 4 on the floor beat as well. Like it's the kick goes the whole song, so it's easy, right? Like just keep the kick going and you're laughing, right? And then I wanted to have this sort of primal feel to it because it's called Hurricane, so it's gotta sound badass. You know, I can't be hitting the drums lightly, right? So I just kind of really went heavy on the floor toms. Lost it. Not sure what happened there. Yes, that guy. It's kind of a rough idea of like. I think the kids liked when the song cut out more than anything. But yeah, so it's not like, you know, so that's kind of an example of so our producer Gavin Brown on this last record we did. Like he's one of the best rock producers in the country. You know, he's worked with everyone from Tragic Hip to Billy Talent to Neil Young, like you name it. He's huge. He just said really. Oh, and so on this last record, we actually recorded the cymbals separately from everything else, which is kind of crazy. It was weird to get used to. So we actually record, like these wouldn't even be on my drum kit while we were recording. So we record just with the hi-hats, and then I have to just pretend I was hitting the cymbals, and then after we finish recording that, then we go back in and record the cymbals on top, which is kind of a weird way to, like, it's very not natural, of course. But the reason we did that is because cymbals are such a high frequency that when you're playing them with everything else, they sort of cut in and interfere with like the recording of the toms and the kick drum. So I mean, like seriously, like this, just drumming in the air on the cymbal during the first take, you know, which is really weird. And then when you go put them two together, it just would sound massive. So it's just like it sounds like this, because then you put on the right mics for the cymbals when you do the cymbals, and the right mics for the toms when you do the toms and that kind of stuff. So I didn't like it at first, but you know, it's like I trusted him, so it was cool. So that song was just like me just hammering into the toms just to get that really big sort of thunderous sound, you know. And yeah, I think it worked out. Like I'm glad I trusted him because it worked out. It sounds big in the end, you know. So we got just a couple minutes. Like, any other questions? Mm-hmm.
Have you ever written a note?
Written a song?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good question. Like, have I written a song? So all of the OBS songs, like I've written with the guys, right? So we all write the songs together. We all bring in ideas, like on the guitar. That's where, like, at least for our band, that's where the most of the songs start from. Once in a while, it'll start from like a beat, and that'll inspire Hicks to play a riff. But usually, it's like we're a rock band, so it's like it always starts on the guitar. So, and some of the stuff, like, you know, I don't play guitar very good, like I said, but I can still write songs on it. You know, so some of the stuff, like it ain't right. Like, I wrote that on the music for it, and She's on Fire. That's my guitar riff, you know. And so we all four of us bring in ideas, and then we kind of take the guitar riff, and then I'll add the beat and that sort of thing. And then, like, lyrically on this record, we all wrote the lyrics together, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, I think when some people ask, you know, who writes the songs, I think they're talking about the lyrics, but we're talking about lyrics and music. And so on this record, it was, yeah, all four of us doing all of that together. So, and then I write songs like on the acoustic and sing them kind of, but that's like strictly for my basement only, you know. Maybe my wife, but like that's even pushing it. Like it's meant like I'm saving it for like my solo album someday. Any other questions? You guys like? Yes.
What are the names of the people in your band?
So we got Shane is the singer, Hicks is the guitar player, Steve is the bass player, and then I'm the drummer. And you know, actually, that brings up a good point. Is like, so we actually had, like, it's sort of to your point earlier about band members. Like we had our bass player Granny, who was in our band for a decade, and you know, he's a brother, and he left the band about I guess almost a year ago. Not quite, half a year, 3/4 year. Left the band, so like he just wanted to go into education at university, and just, you know, decided it wasn't his passion anymore. And so it's tough. Like, it's tough, you know, losing even a band like us, you know, with whatever level of success we have. Like, when you lose a member, it's really tough, you know. So we and there was no hard feelings by any means. Like, it was all good, but it was just, you know, some people are on different paths sometimes, right? So we're like, oh, what are we gonna do? Like, this guy's been in our band for a decade. How are we gonna replace him? Like, you can't replace him, you know. So we just auditioned a bunch of people. Some of you might have seen it. We put out this sort of on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, like, we're looking for a bass player. And we got so many applications. It was really cool. We got like 100 videos of people playing and auditioning, and we auditioned like 3 people, and one of them was this guy Steve, and he actually was in our band before Granny was, like 11 years ago. He was in our band for like 3 months, and then just found, you know, it wasn't for him. Like, there's a lot of sacrifice involved in being in a band. You know, it's not, people see the glamour and the you know, the coolness of it, but that's like one little part of it. You know, there's so much hard work and sacrifice and that goes into it, and at the time Steve wasn't willing to make that. So then he said he always regretted that. Like, the rest was, for the 10 years that followed, he regretted having left the band. And so when he saw that we needed someone, he was just like, I've been waiting 10 years for this kind of thing. So he auditioned, and then that was that. He was in the band. So if he quits again, I'll be really upset. I'll be a fool. Yeah, I mean, any other? Let's do some prizes. Yeah. Thank you, Vanna. Let's do some prizes here. So basically, so I'm very lucky to, after years and years of drumming, I finally got endorsed by some of these different companies. So One of the companies is called Dahl. They give me skins for free, which is amazing because I go through a lot of them, and they give me sticks. And so Larry at Dahl sent me this big package. He's like, congrats on doing your first drum thing. Here's some stuff for you. And I thought, why don't I just give this stuff away because it's kind of fun, you know? So sort of spreading the love, you know? So basically we've got like a bunch of different stuff here.
Did everyone get their name in for the draw?
No.
No.
Okay, let's do it, quick.
Put your name in.
Oh, nice, okay. So who, you guys into? Nice, okay.
Just you go put
That's all I
your
get
name
to
in.
do. Yeah. Okay, we'll do a draw. Once you guys all get in. Once you're all in, we can do a draw here. So we just stand up. Oh, from there.
I think we'll just have to filter it out because it's like
Here, well, let's turn off for a second. So try that, Joe.
Are you going to win?
And thanks again. Give yourself a round of applause, you guys, like for coming out on Blizzard. It's amazing. It's a great turnout. So thank you all for coming out. It's awesome.
This is in the Blizzard.
I know. To some people it is, you know what I mean?
To me, this is a normal drive for me. I
Yeah.
love driving.
I don't know if I prefer plus 30, but it is kind of fun to drive in this. But yeah, this is you know, it's an honor to be here. It's my first drum pick, so it's an honor to be able to do it. And I think you get these sort of milestones in your life, and it's good to pause and be thankful. So thank you all for being here for this. It's a big day for me.
Thank you.
So we'll give away some prizes and then see if we can dig ourselves out there. While these guys are filling out, is there any other questions I can answer? I mean, anything about the band or the music or the law or, yeah.
What's the future for One Bad Son? What are you guys looking?
The future for One Bad Son, that's a good.
Do you have any goals or albums coming out or what?
It's a good question. So we released our current album in October, so it's still fairly fresh, you know. We're going back to arenas at the end of this month, which will be great, with American band Shinedown. So I mean, arenas we've done arena tours twice. Once with Def Leppard, once with Judas Priest, and it was like the coolest experience ever. You know, getting on the big stage, hitting the kick drum the first time, it sounds like the cannon going off. Like it's the coolest thing. And just being in arenas, like the same place, like we played like the Saddle Dome and like the Rexall Center in Edmonton, like all the NHL teams play there, all the biggest rock bands play there. Like it's just a very cool, humbling sort of thing. So that'll be cool. And then after that, I think we're gonna do a bunch of summer festivals. And then we're going back to Germany in September. So we did our first Germany tour last year, and it was really cool in Germany. They love rock and roll there, which is cool to see. And they treated us so well when we were there, like it was really just hospitable and stuff. And then, you know, after that, I think we're doing our first US tour in the summer, which will be cool. Sort of like in the mid-US, in those states. We're playing our first US festival, which is a festival called the Burning Cow Festival in Wisconsin. And yeah, so I mean, I never know what is ahead, you know. It's always hard to predict the music bids, right? But what I've learned is that, you know, you work hard, and all of a sudden you just get like a break, you know. Like I remember we got the phone call for Def Leppard, and it was like our first arena tour. Like so there's always like you work so hard, and then like you think you're gonna get something, and then it doesn't happen, but then all of a sudden something else comes and it's like, well, that's life, right? Like you can't predict everything, right? Nor would you want to. So yeah, I think, I guess the answer would be world domination is the next, what's next?
So what about stage jitters? Still have those?
No, you know, I got stage jitters only once, and that was like before the first show I ever done. And I remember it was like, I was so nervous and so I remember like shaking when I was playing. I don't get that anymore. I get like anxious to go on stage. I get excited, you know. So if you come backstage right before I go on stage, I'm not a very good conversationalist. Like I'm just I'm in the zone, you know what I mean? But I'm not nervous. I'm just like, let's do this and let's stretch out and prepare myself mentally and all that stuff.
And do you do specific exercises before a performance, like a routine that you go through to?
Yeah, not exactly a routine. Like there's no, it's not always the same, but just like stretching out is key, right? Especially the neck, because I didn't do it today because I got this silly thing on, but you know, it's like lots of head bang, like the hair's all over the place. So if you don't stretch, like the next day you're like this. You can't even, right? Theo, you know what I'm talking about. So it's like stretching the neck a lot, but then also just like arms and stuff. I do a lot of yoga, like, which is maybe it's not very rock and roll, but it's, I don't care. You know, it's like it's what, as a drummer, especially a hard-hitting drummer, like you gotta take care of your body because it is really hard on your body for sure. So your lower back, it's all messed up. You see some drummers walk around like this, you know, all the time. It's like you gotta just stretch it out. So I don't like sitting that much because I'm always sitting on the drums, but when I'm not drumming, I'm standing. You know, at home I'm standing, right? So yeah, just kind of stretching as much as you can is sort of key, and then yeah. Okay, we got some surprise time here, or what?
We do.
So let's start with.
Here?
Why don't we start with? Oh, nice. Okay. So we got a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna just draw for everything. So let's start with this vintage. It's a brand new shirt, but it's sort of like in this vintage style from Evans. So let's go right on top here. Jackson Graham. All right. You want to keep these for after? I guess you'll keep it. Okay. Where do you go? Oh, there he is. And this is just a sort of like a lanyard holder. Okay, so I'll put this on the side. So yeah. Okay, and let's go with these cool. So Evans has a whole new line of retro stuff. It's sort of like when they first came on the scene in '56. So it's sort of like a retro-inspired set of drumsticks. Let's go.
Matching Evans line.
Richard Mulligan. Nice. Okay, let's do. Here's one of those Evans, like sort of a retro beanie, like a toque sort of vibe. We'll come over here. You want to get on the camera, okay? Okay, so we got this retro beanie, and this goes to Nathan Henry. All right, Nate. What's Henry? Yeah, I got this. Okay.
We should draw for one of the 19 and older prizes, which we have one here.
Sure.
Just
So this is for 19 and over. So if you're under 19, we'll just draw again. But it's an Evans retro '56 flask. It's kind of got this cool like leather vibe on it. So let's go. Oh, you're not okay with that. Rihanna Conley.
Oh, wait.
Hey!
well, we have a stick bag.
This is very cool. It's a retro drumstick bag.
I say thank you.
You're welcome, Rihanna. Okay, we'll try again for this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Marty Hayden.
I'm over.
Nice. Okay, there you go.
And we have the Evans drum key, the retro drum key.
Yeah, it's cool. It's more than just a drum key. It's like this retro drum key. It's got this like leather casing around it. It's very cool. Like it's modeled after like what they did back in '56. So this goes to Jason Yankee.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, Jason. Okay, I'll do that. This is Evan's T-shirt, black. It's size large, but hopefully you can make it size work. Merv Kozar. Nice, Merv. Thanks for coming, dude. Okay, this is the last one. Okay, so this is really cool. So again, this is the whole Evans they launched this sort of retro line. So this is how they used to make, like how drum kits used to look. It's got that sort of like pattern. Very cool. I haven't tried playing this yet, but I think it's going to be awesome.
Kind of mimics the sound of the old calfskin heads, very round, very warm.
There, that's the right answer, yeah. Linda, the Rescue King. Linda, all right. Okay. Well, let's do, okay. Here you go, Linda.
As soon as you stumble over the last.
You knew it was you. Let's do, for the fun of it, let's do the sticks I was playing today. Let's give these away. These are my custom sticks. And you feel they're still hot from playing today.
Game worn.
Malaya Sayer?
You won, baby. You won some drumsticks.
All right. You're very welcome. Don't rock too hard, okay? Okay, well, that's it. This is got a few signed posters here. If you guys like, there's like maybe. Yeah, I got 5 signed posters here. Well, let's just give them to the kids, maybe. So you guys, yeah, if any kids want to come grab on the way out, just help yourself, you guys. And there's like some ProMark stickers and these lanyard holders. Just help yourself, you guys. And honestly, just thanks for coming out. This has been a great experience, and it's an honor. So keep in touch. If you have questions about drumming or anything, just don't hesitate to reach out, shoot me an email, whatever. And thank you all for coming out.
Thank you.